Today we're going to talk about 10 bonkers, crazy, wacko horror movies that you can stream right now for free on Tubi. I think most horror fans at this point know that Tubi is a fantastic streaming service. It's totally free, you just have to watch ads, and there's a ton of really cool movies, horror movies, but a lot of those horror movies look absolutely bonkers crazy. Like this? What the heck is this? Who would watch this? Or this? Actually, that movie's pretty cool. I kind of recommend it. But today, I'm here to help, and I'm going to talk to you about 10 of these crazy horror movies that are absolutely worth watching. My name is Daniel with the Cobwebs channel, and let's get started. The Terror Within from 1989, which is a post-apocalyptic horror film in a world where 99% of the population is dead and tons of people have been mutated into monsters they call gargoyles. So there's tons of gargoyles outside, and we follow a small crew in an underground lab who's trying to find a cure to whatever disease they're dealing with. And when they find a survivor and bring her back, she turns out to be pregnant, and there's a terror within. That's where the terror is. It's a shoestring budget, Roger Corman produced sci-fi horror movie that's very much ripping off Alien. And this was totally put on my radar by Mike over at the Horror Geek channel. He put out a great video on this and I knew I had to check this movie out. And here's the thing, as a kind of Alien ripoff, I actually think it's a lot of fun. It's got some really fun gore moments, particularly when the girl gives birth to the monster, to the terror within, is a fantastic sequence, straight out of Alien, but really, really good sequence. And the monster itself, it doesn't look convincing, I wouldn't say. It's very much a guy in a rubber suit, but I like that kind of thing, and I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed seeing this monster run around, kill people. It actually looks a lot like the monster in The Suckling, but not quite as good. The Suckling monster is good, but The Terror Within as a film is definitely way better. Because the characters, the acting is actually pretty good, better than I would have expected. The lead is Andrew Stevens, who is in a lot of erotic thrillers, actually the son of Stella Stevens. And of course, George Kennedy is here, because would it be an 80s B movie if George Kennedy wasn't in it? It's a wacko monster movie where people run around and try not to get killed and try to stop a monster. It's exactly what you think it is, and I think it's a good time.
You hate it here, don't you?
It's just different. The kids are
strange.
It's not what you think.
Disturbing Behavior.
Disturbing Behavior from 1998, which stars James Marsden as a high schooler, which is the first bonkers thing in the movie. This James Marsden is a high schooler. Okay, sure. But he moves into a small town called Cradle Bay and immediately makes friends with the outcast kids, because the popular kids are these 1950s cookie cutter, very weird people who seem perfect on the outside, but turn to enraged violence when they get horny. Yes, this is very much an Invasion of the Body Snatchers style movie where people get violent, they go crazy, they get homicidal when they get a little sexually turned on. I'm just like imagining a writer in a boardroom with a bunch of producers pitching this idea, and the producers are like, yes, let's make that movie. What an unexpected bonkers premise for a movie that looks like another Scream ripoff. It's very much not, but of course it's the beautiful teen actors running around the small town, very much like Scream. James Marsden is fun here. Katie Holmes as his love interest is kind of hilarious. She is the most dated thing in this incredibly dated 1990s movie. I mean, the slang in this film is ridiculous. Like, she keeps calling things razor.
You down?
Sounds razor.
Like, that's so razor. I've never heard that before in my life. I do enjoy what a late 90s time capsule this is. The supporting cast is actually really good, with Bruce Greenwood and William Sadler, Steve Railsback, even Catherine Isabel is in here. It's weird, it's entertaining. I absolutely recommend it.
It's the toys. Someone's inside the toys.
Demonic Toys.
Demonic Toys from 1992, which really did not start off the way I expected. It starts with two cops on a sting operation, and she tells him she's pregnant. He's happy about this, there's no drama, which means he's got to get killed. And of course he dies, because when they're on this operation, he pulls a gun on a bunch of criminals who all already have their guns out. Yeah, he's gonna get shot. And now our lady cop runs into a warehouse and tries to survive against these criminals, paired up with a security guard and a chicken delivery memory guy, and it turns out there's a bunch of demonic toys in the building that also want to kill everyone. This is a full moon movie, and if you've been watching the channel regularly, you know I've been slowly dipping my toes more and more into Full Moon, checking out more of their films, and this is definitely one of their classics, if you can call any Full Moon movie a classic. And it didn't disappoint. I thought it was a really good time. There's something just very charming about these 90s Full Moon movies. They're low budget, they're schlocky, but they get the job done. They know what you need to be entertained, and they just deliver. The toys are super fun. They've got great, creepy designs and different personalities to them. I mean, the standout has got to be Baby Oopsie-Daisy, who is constantly swearing, and every time it is hilarious.
I'm Baby Oopsie-Daisy. Will you be my special friend?
Of course, it tries to offer an explanation for why these toys are demonic and why they're coming to life, and the one they give is wild. It's all about a demon who's been trapped in the building for so long and just got resurrected and is trying to get human form, not through possession, but through being born. And that's where Our Lady Cop really comes into play. And it's just weirder, grosser, more violating than you would expect, and a little bit more creative. Though I don't know who he thinks is going to take care of him once he's born a baby. But the demonic stuff was more satanic than I expected, and I thought it was pretty cool. Demonic Toys is undoubtedly a wacko movie for when you want to watch a schlocky B movie. But this is a schlocky B movie that entertains. It's a good time. Full Moon, they deliver.
Big fat bug right in my spider web. Virginia, are you crazy?
Spider Baby from 1967, which takes place in a dilapidated rural mansion where the last generation of an inbred family lives with the inherited curse of a disease which causes them to mentally regress from late childhood even as they physically develop. Eventually, they reach a pre-human state where they just become savage and cannibalistic. The family chauffeur, yes, they have one, played by Lon Chaney Jr., looks out for them, but trouble comes when distant relatives arrive who want to lay claim on the home. If you asked me, Daniel, I want to watch an old black and white horror movie that is absolutely bananas, I would point you to Spider Baby. It's directed by Jack Hill, who is a legend of exploitation cinema, and as you can tell, it just has an absolutely insane premise, an insane reason to have like evil inbred rural people who want to kill you. The characters all have these weird distinct personalities, like the girl who eats spiders, hence Spider Baby, and Sid Haig is in here as a grown man who acts like a baby, and he is so young here and he just looks so weird and gangly and creepy. Sid Haig is a legend, RIP, respect to him. And even the greedy relatives who come in are interesting, like the woman who's played by Carol Omart, who yes is from House on Haunted Hill. And at first I thought the guy was her husband, and I thought he was just some sleazebag because he was so obviously hitting on their lawyer's secretary, but no, it turns out he's her brother and he's not a sleazebag, and they actually have this very cute romance. They're really nice, like genuinely good people thrown in the middle of this thing, and they even bond over a mutual love of monster movies, so automatically I want these people getting out of this alive.
Dracula, Frankenstein.
And the mummy?
Oh, the mummy. I love the mummy. Oh, and the Wolfman. Ah!
Spider Baby does struggle with some pacing issues. There's a little bit too much of characters wandering around an old house waiting for something spooky to happen. But if you want to watch a classic horror film that is absolutely bananas, Spider Baby's the one.
They say that Father Ryan and the nuns still haunt this building.
We got some demons to kill.
The Convent from 2000, which is about some absolutely wacko college students who break into an abandoned convent that is said to be haunted and one by one become possessed by demonic spirits. So full disclosure, when I first saw The Convent, it was in a theater at a horror movie marathon that I attended with a packed house of other horror fans, and The Convent absolutely like rocked the ceiling. Everybody had so much fun watching this film. It is so weird and wacko and funny and crazy, and people were just gut-busting laughing, cheering at all the insanity. Now, The Convent doesn't have an original bone in its body. That I need to say right up front. It is basically Night of the Demons, which also Night of the Demons is on Tubi, and it's better than The Convent, probably. So, like, why am I recommending The Convent? Probably because you've seen Night of the Demons, and you probably haven't seen The Convent. The characters are so over the top. There's one guy among them that is like the biggest D-bag I've ever seen in my life, but he goes so far with it. It's not where you hate him. He's just just absolutely hilarious in how ridiculous he is in his douchebaggery. There's also some loser wannabe Satanists in there who are trying to communicate with the spirits but just aren't very good at it. And as the demonic spirits are possessing people and turning people into these glowing-eyed nuns, it is a really cool visual. And there's some great gore, some great fun to be had here. And Adrienne Barbeau is in here as an absolute demon hunting badass, and she is so much fun to watch here. This is one of Adrienne Barbeau's best roles outside of a John Carpenter film. If you're looking for a horror comedy that's going to be gory, macabre, and really satanic, The Convent will deliver.
Who is this irresistible creature who has an insatiable love for the dead?
Lady Frankenstein from 1971. All right, before I jump into this one, I need to ask, where are my fellow fans of trashy 70s Euro sleaze? Come on. Let's gather up. Now, this stars Rosalba Neri, a big cult actress of 70s Italian horror, as the daughter of Dr. Frankenstein. And the movie is about her continuing the experiments of her father. And I remember when I first watched this film, I thought it was so lame at the beginning. Because at the beginning, it's just very much like a bad ripoff of the Hammer Frankenstein movies with Peter Cushing. I love those movies, and this was such a poor man's version. It has Joseph Cotten as Dr. Frankenstein, who classic film fans will know from movies like Shadow of the Doubt and The Third Man, but here he is not a good Dr. Frankenstein. But then about 20 minutes in, something happens to him, and the movie completely changes, and it becomes something so cool, so crazy, and so sick and twisted as soon as it starts focusing on Lady Frankenstein, because her ultimate goal here is to create the perfect husband, and Dr. Frankenstein's old assistant is madly in love with her, and she says she loves his brain, she loves his intelligence, and she wants to be with him. He's just not attractive. So their goal is to find an attractive guy who's really not smart and move brains, and it's so wrong. The stuff that they do here, like, it is so twisted. There is a kill scene that involves a sex scene that is just like one of the most like you crossed a lot of lines kind of scene that I've seen in a 70s Italian horror movie. Yeah, this movie is trashy. It's sick, but it is 70s Italian Euro sleaze in like the best way. And Rosalba Neri is actually fantastic in it. The atmosphere is so good. It's classic gothic horror. You've got a Frankenstein monster that looks absolutely ridiculous, but also kind of cool. So I'm definitely a fan of this movie. Bait from 2012. Okay, I need you guys to just stay with me here while I describe the plot of Bait. It is about a freak tsunami that floods an entire city in Australia underwater, and our characters are stranded in a supermarket that has now been, of course, completely flooded, and there are now sharks swimming around inside the grocery store, and they have to survive the grocery store sharks. Okay, the premise for this movie is beyond bonkers. It is such a ridiculous premise. And when I first watched this film, I was expecting like a Sharknado kind of thing. Like, I was expecting cheese, schlock, not good. But this movie takes this insane premise and makes a pretty darn good movie out of it. Like, the performances, the character development is way beyond what you would expect for a movie like this. I mean, for one thing, it's starring Sharni Vinson, who a lot of people love from You're Next. She made a huge splash in that film. So if you're just in the mood for another movie where Sharni Vinson kicks a lot of ass in a horror movie, I mean, Bait is the one. It's another one that really delivers on how great she is. There's a lot of other side characters that are interesting too. Like, it's not enough that there were sharks in the supermarket. Right before it happened, the grocery store was getting robbed. Like, when's the last time you were in a grocery store and it was getting robbed? Like, the main thief is played by Julian McMahon. Yes, Dr. Doom himself. Well, I guess Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom now. That's weird. And for a movie with a premise that seems so difficult to buy into, it's actually really intense. And the movie puts the characters through a lot of struggles that are interesting to watch. Like, it's not just the shark in there. There's so many other struggles too, like just trying to get out of this store. There's just so many terrifying incidents going on. So many things where the characters have to struggle to survive through. So I was just really impressed that these filmmakers took such a stupid premise and did everything they could possibly do with it and made a movie that I think is really entertaining, very intense, good characters. You might judge me for saying it, and that's okay, but I recommend it.
Welcome to the Waxwork.
Waxwork
from 1988, which is about some wealthy college students who are invited to a special showing at a mysterious wax museum. But as soon as any of them get too close to any of the wax displays, they are sucked into the reality of it. And the movie kind of functions like a horror anthology where they are going into these different stories, but it's like a literal horror anthology where they're in a place where all these stories exist. They're bouncing back and forth between them. And it is kind of a monster mash movie. It's got like a werewolf story that's really cool. There's a vampire story that's really like gothic and sexy, but also more gruesome than vampire stuff even usually is. There's the Phantom of the Opera, there's a mummy. It is such a cool, classic feeling 80s horror movie that's got such a good cast. I mean, it stars Zach Galligan from Gremlins as the main guy, Deborah Foreman from Valley Girl. Deborah Foreman is one of my favorite 80s actresses. I'm such a big fan of her. And there's also this side character whose name is China, and she is like the most fun to watch popular mean girl ever. She's got so many hilarious lines.
I do what I want when I want. Dig it or f*** off.
And the proprietor of the Wax Museum is David Warner. Always love seeing David Warner in an 80s horror film. This is an Anthony Hickox directed film. He tended to make movies with a lot of gore and a lot of special effects, and that very much describes Waxwork. It goes to some very strange and bonkers places. Like, I talked about all the monsters that are in here, and that stuff is fun. But they also go into a Marquis de Sade story that is like so much more sick and twisted and sexual than you would ever expect from a movie of this kind of tone. Like, only in the 80s would a sequence like that be in a movie like this. Certainly not today. It's really weird. Waxwork is incredibly fun. If you love 80s horror, if you love horror anthologies and classic monsters, this is a movie that puts it all together in such a great package, and I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah?
This is 476 Barbarian, right?
Yeah, I'm renting this place.
No, I booked it a month ago.
Why don't you come inside and we'll call these idiots.
Barbarian from 2022, which is about a young woman who arrives at an Airbnb late at night only to find that it has been mistakenly double booked and a strange man is already staying there. That is the super basic setup for the film. And it really is intense at the beginning because the guy that she meets there is Bill Skarsgård, who has played so many different monsters. He's played even more monsters since this movie came out. So you automatically do not trust Bill Skarsgård. And it's so uneasy. Like, what would you do if you went to an Airbnb and there was someone already there? It's directed by Zach Kreger, who's known for a lot of ridiculous comedy stuff, and this is his horror debut, and he's already like a legendary horror director. He's got another movie coming out this year that people are really highly anticipating, myself as well. Barbarian is such a fun, weird, crazy ride. It's one of those movies where every time you say to yourself, surely this is as crazy as the movie is gonna get. Like, surely it's gonna start like calming down. It never does. It keeps building and building and building. There are so many dramatic hard cuts where you're like, the movie's going here. Holy cow, now we're over here. Now what's going on? Like, my feet are off the ground. I don't know what's happening. Oh my gosh, now we're over here. It is nuts. Barbarian is the definition of bonkers. And I'm so glad it was like a fairly high budget, high profile horror movie that played in theaters, and it is this weird and crazy. All the actors are great. Justin Long is in here as well in a fantastic role. He is like funny, sad, pathetic, despicable. You never quite know how to feel about Justin Long, and you don't know like who really is his character. This movie is so fun to just like keep you guessing. And I also wanted to put it on this list because I was shocked to see it's on Tubi. This is a movie that just went to HBO Max after theaters. It's never gotten a physical media release, but you can stream it for free now on Tubi. It doesn't seem like the kind of movie that would be there, but there it is. You can check it out. Barbarian kind of rules.
There is your blood and soul. Back to the genesis. My life form.
Lifeforce from 1985. A strange and glorious achievement by director Tobe Hooper, who is one of my favorite horror filmmakers. Lifeforce is based on a book called Space Vampires, and it's about some astronauts that go into space and find a group of space vampires who just look like very beautiful people. And when one of them escapes, makes it down to Earth, a bunch of experts have to band together to stop this vampire from spreading its disease all over the planet and causing Armageddon. Lifeforce is a shockingly ambitious film for an 80s B movie, which it really is, despite the fact that Canon Pictures, I love Canon, but they made so much crazy stuff in the 80s, spent an irresponsible amount of money on Lifeforce. This film cost more than Star Wars or Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. It is so high budget, and it's all on the screen. Like, it is a beautiful production. It has amazing sets, jaw-dropping, awesome practical special effects. These space vampires, especially when they're all decrepit and gross, look so cool, sucking life force out of people. And the main vampire is played by Matilda May, who is naked for almost the entire movie, which is definitely one of the film's more bonkers aspects. You see, Lifeforce at its core is like a tribute to classic gothic vampire movies, like from Hammer and such. It actually feels a lot like a Hammer film. It mainly takes place in Britain. It's about a bunch of British guys and Steve Railsback, the second Steve Railsback movie on this list. You can never have enough Steve Railsback. And they're all trying to figure out how to stop this sexually provocative vampire, much like vampires were in the old Hammer movies, but this time it's updated for the 80s and they just make her naked the whole time. Despite the fact that Lifeforce is totally bonkers and a wildly irresponsible business decision by Canon because it lost them so much money, I adore this movie. I think it is so beautifully made. I mean, it looks gorgeous from start to finish. It really shows what Tobe Hooper is capable of when you give him so much money, which very rarely happened in his career. He's such a better director than he often got credit for. It is a true spectacle. It is one of those movies that just keeps building on its craziness to an apocalyptic degree, and it's one of my favorite 80s horror movies, and I absolutely adore it. Before I go, I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons who really make this channel possible and allow me to spend as much time on it as I do, with a special shout out to Andrew Edwards, Ralph Perotti, and Tisby Boxfox. You guys absolutely rule. So that's my list, but what are some more bonkers horror movies that you would recommend, especially if they're streaming on Tubi? Let us know down in the comments below. And if you want to hang out with me more, here's my Tubi recommendations list I did last month, as well as a playlist of a lot of my other recommendations lists. So there's lots of stuff you can check out. If you haven't yet, you can give a like and a subscribe. I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Don't forget to enjoy yourself today. Have some fun, and I'll see you next time.